I'm Nintendo.
And I'm Sega.
This is Console Wars! What does this candle smell like?
PCP.
I thought so.
Great Scott! Damn!
Doc!
What are you doing here?
Oh, it's your future, boys! We gotta save your future!
What's wrong with our future?
It's about your channel, your next video! Everything's going to be ruined by pastrami!
What is it, some type of oil massage for the winner?
Or like an oil spanking for the loser?
Neither! He does song parodies about bald celebrities in wigs! Different celebrities, different wigs! Perhaps it's best I show you. Larry David in a wig, Larry David in a wig, Larry David, Larry David, Larry David in a wig.
Pretty catchy.
Kinda funny.
Oh, it gets even funny with Bruce Willis and J.K. Simmons, but then it reaches its absolute apex with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson! But that's the problem, boys! People won't want console wars anymore! They're just gonna want these song parodies!
Doesn't sound so bad.
Ah, but you don't understand! You'll never be able to make a song as good as the Wig song! You'll try the rest of your life until this happens to you!
Whoa, that's heavy.
And what happens to me?
Ah, the only thing you could think of to make ends meet was to star in OnlyFans. Sure, it's very tasteful at first, but then, look!
Ooh la la. Ooh la la? Ooh la la?
What can we do to prevent this?
Ah, I'm glad you asked. I have the perfect solution right here.
Whoa, Doc, there's gotta be another way.
Actually, there is. Pastrami's gonna call you any second right now with an idea. When he does, you just tell him no.
It's him. Hey Strami, how's it going?
Well, I'm doing great. Listen, I got this idea for a song parody and...
No song parodies.
Well, listen, it's about wigs and...
No song parodies.
Oh, this episode or any episode in the future.
Fine. Well, have you thought about the oils yet, though?
And done.
It's still not too late.
Nah, I think we're good, Doc.
Weird. I feel kinda bad for Strami.
Oh, don't worry. I'll just take him for a ride in the DeLorean. That cheers everyone up. You take it easy, boys.
Man, I was hoping that we'd get to time travel.
Me too. I'm a huge Back to the Future fan.
Me too! I even love the video games. Games like Back to the Future Part 3 for the Sega Genesis.
And I've always liked Super Back to the Future Part 2 for the Super Nintendo.
That was never released in the US.
Still better than your game.
What? That's it! Are we doing this?
Can a trained pigeon tell the difference between paintings of Picasso and Monet? They can.
Best Back to the Future game.
Super Back to the Future Part 2 was developed and published by Invictus and Toshiba EMI in 1993. This game was originally released only in Japan for Super Famicom. There has been an English patch made since, and that's what we're playing today. This game follows the plot of Back to the Future Part 2.
Back to the Future Part 3 was developed by Probe Software and published by ImageWorks and Arena Entertainment. It was released in 1991 for the Amiga, Amstrad CPC, Atari ST, Commodore 64, MS-DOS, ZX Spectrum, and Sega Master System. Today we're looking at the Sega Genesis version. This game follows the plot of Back to the Future Part 3. These are two very different games, but the only Back to the Future games for the Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis. Which one's better? Let's find out.
These are two really different looking games.
On Super Nintendo, the characters have a bit of a chibi anime style with enlarged heads. This means they don't look exactly like they did in the film, but they're still easy to identify, and after a while, you get used to it. Character animation is smooth, and Marty has his fair share of animations. Enemies are right out of the movie too. You have different versions of Biff and Griff, different versions of his thugs, Mr. Strickland, and even Red made the cut.
Crazy, drunk, pedestrian.
The levels are also right out of the movie too. Hill Valley from 3 different time periods. Overall, it was definitely able to capture the look of the film.
The characters in Sega Genesis look like they did in the movie too. You have Marty, Doc, and Mad Dog Tannen. Levels are taken right out of the movie. It captures that feeling of the Old West nicely. And the different looks of the levels really keeps things interesting. Keeps things from being too boring or repetitive.
Yeah, but my game definitely looks better.
Side by side, the first thing you notice is how much brighter the Super Nintendo game is. And not just the colorful levels, but the dark and gritty ones as well. Why so dark? Couldn't they have just brightened it up a little bit, like this? The Super Nintendo game definitely looks better than the dull Sega game.
So your game's a little brighter.
And more like the movie.
Oh, you think so?
Let's start with the enemies. Sure, there are some from the movie like the cops or guys on motorcycles, but most of them are random. You have Karate Guy, Large Soda Can Guy, My Head's on Fire Guy, and my favorite, Sandwich Guy. Hey, I'm just eating a sandwich. Oh, I'm dead. None of these guys were in the movie. And the biggest movie sin, look at this. The hoverboard moving on water?
Some liberties were taken, but it still looks better than your game.
The look of the Sega game is completely unoriginal. This looks like a generic horse riding level. This looks like a generic train level. This looks like a generic shooting gallery. This looks like a generic guy throwing pie frisbees at cowboys level. Okay, maybe that one hasn't been done, but you get my point. The Sega game is dull and forgettable. The Super Nintendo game, however, is bright and colorful. It just looks more fun.
My graphics are definitely better.
For having a brighter look, more locations from the movie, and more characters from the movie, best graphics go to Super Nintendo!
Our presentation has lots of differences.
Yep. Let's start with those HUDs.
Super Nintendo HUD's fine. You have a life bar, lives, and coins. Life bar is hoverboards, which is creative, I guess. The Sega game, however, doesn't have life bars. Instead, it uses clocks, because of the whole time thing. Or on this level, it uses a bulletproof vest, just like the movie.
Bulletproof vest! Great flick!
And then this level, you see the time, speed, and boiler temperature.
Okay, so our HUDs are different. Can we talk about the cutscenes now?
Sure, because my cutscenes are fantastic.
The Sega game has cutscenes before and after every level. It has stills with the characters looking much like they did in the movie. The game has some fun with cutscenes when you die. First off, you see a tombstone, just like the movie, and it changes depending on what level you die on. The dialogue also changes when you die. Clara's are the best, ranging from screaming as she plunges into the ravine to cracking jokes about Disney movies that haven't been made yet. Nice range, Clara.
I got that beat.
The Super Nintendo game is loaded with cutscenes. It uses a combinations of stills and sprites from the game. And again, lots of the characters from the movie show up here. Marty, Jennifer, and Doc, many Biffs, Griff, and Enhanced Lorraine. And not only characters, but so many moments from the movie are here too.
But my characters look more like they did in the film.
Barely. Your pictures are okay at best, and the game hardly even follows the plot of the movie.
If you try to follow the plot of the third film just based on the Sega cutscenes, here's what you get. Marty and Doc have to save Clara. Then, you decide to randomly shoot targets. Then, you decide to randomly eat pie. Then, you go on a train. The end.
Great cutscenes. I feel like I just watched a whole movie again.
Well, it's better than your goofy cutscenes with dumb-looking characters.
At least mine follows the plot.
So much of what happens here in the movie is in the Super Nintendo game. It's fun to see so many moments recreated here. The whole plot of the movie is here, unlike the Sega game.
There's no denying my cutscenes.
For having many cutscenes that follow the plot and tell an actual story you can follow, best presentation goes to Super Nintendo!
We both have a theme from the movie.
Mine clearly sounds better.
What?
It sounds just like it's from the movie. And I have this part too. All you have is that one part. I have the exciting section.
Well, my other music sounds pretty good too.
The Sega music captures the sound of the Old West. It can be playful. It can also be intense.
My music's way better.
I got a variation of the main theme. I also have fun tracks. I have intense songs too.
It's kind of generic. Nothing really stands out.
Nothing stands out in your game, but I at least have one solid track.
This track is too good. Is this Back to the Future or Mega Man?
I have way more songs than you. You only have 4 to my 11. Would you care to hear the rest?
No, I'm good. Let's compare the sound effects instead.
Listen to firing a gun on Sega. Sounds fine to me. Now Super Nintendo. I don't know what that is.
Sega sound effects are not perfect.
Listen to when enemies get hit on Sega. Talk about the bare minimum. They put any effort in here? Now listen to Super Nintendo. Much more satisfying. Plus, you don't even have a jumping sound effect on Sega. Got one on Super Nintendo.
What? No way. I am not losing this category.
We can do this the easy way or the hard way.
What's that supposed to mean?
The easy way.
For sounding more like the movie, having excellent original songs, and more songs overall, best sound goes to Super Nintendo.
You have very different gameplay.
The Super Nintendo game plays like an action platformer. You control Marty, who's always on his hoverboard. You only have 2 buttons, one to dash and one to jump. You take out enemies by jumping on them. You have to be jumping. If you just land on them, you'll take a hit. You can collect coins throughout each level. This lets you buy items from vending machines. You can buy health, a shield, and invincibility, all at different prices. Goal is pretty simple. Just get through the level until you literally reach goal. And there are some boss battles to mix things up. It can be a bit of a long game, so there is a short and easy password for every level, but you might be able to beat it in one shot since you have unlimited continues.
Sega game? It's more variety.
The Sega game is like a collection of mini-games. 4 to be exact. The first one is a horse riding level. Here, you play as Doc. You need to shoot, jump over, and duck under obstacles until you reach the end. The second level is just a shooting gallery. Goal here is to get enough points. Unlimited ammo and you can't get hurt. Just keep playing until you get a high enough score. The third level is a bit like a shooter too. You can only move side to side in this isometric view. Goal here is to take out enemies while avoiding getting shot. The projectile frisbees can run out, so you need to constantly reload. And the fourth level plays more like a traditional platformer. You're on the train taking out enemies and avoiding projectiles and obstacles. You can jump, climb, and throw frisbees. Goal here is to collect all the charges before the time runs out. You don't have a life bar or lives here. If you die, you just get taken back to a checkpoint. The only way to lose here is if you run out of time. And all these levels have unlimited continues.
My game's clearly better.
Why?
I have way more levels.
Including boss fights, the Super Nintendo game has a total of 19 levels. The Sega game? Only 4.
Yeah, well, your game's kinda hard.
The Super Nintendo game can be tough. Only 3 hits and you're dead. And some of these levels are long. And since the Super Nintendo game has no checkpoints, if you die, you need to start at the beginning of the level. Brutal.
My game's hard? Your game's impossible.
Just the first level alone is excruciating. Everything is getting thrown at you and everything will kill you. You'll die so many times before you even get close to beating this level. Unless you're a glutton for punishment, stay away from this game. The other levels aren't much more forgiving either. Expect to die. A lot.
game's not impossible.
Sure, you'll die a lot playing this game, but that's because every level has a steep learning curve. This game expects you to die. I'm sure that's part of the reason there's only 4 levels. And when you die, there's barely any loading. You're immediately taken back into the action, so it doesn't feel like a burden. Just have patience. Every time you play, you will get a little bit better, and you'll get a little bit further. You just need to keep at it, learn the patterns, and eventually, you'll beat the level.
But the controls are sloppy.
The first level, you need to be near perfect or you will die. The isometric level will take a long time to get used to. Forget avoiding bullets, you'll be focused on how to throw the frisbee in the right direction. And the train level, your only platformer, might be the worst one. Jumping and attacking are not always responsive. You'll definitely find yourself dying many times through no fault of your own. And you'll just die a lot here in general, cause this game hates you. Like I said, only play this game if you're a glutton for punishment.
Your controls have problems too.
Jumping is a problem in the Super Nintendo game. It can be incredibly stiff. The issue is, if you jump idly, you can barely move left or right. The only way you move is if you're already moving before you jump. This can be very difficult on small platforms, so expect to fall a lot due to poor jumping mechanics.
You can get used to it.
Well, I still haven't talked about the worst part of your game. Slow down.
The Super Nintendo game is plagued with slowdown. I'd say easily 90% of this game, you experience slowdown. Okay, maybe not that much, but let's just say, if there was any more slowdown, you could easily call this Super Back to the Future 2, the Snyder Cut. It gets pretty ridiculous. The Sega game, on the other hand, has no slowdown.
Yeah, there's a lot of slowdown, but it still plays better than your game.
For never being released in the US, the Super Nintendo version is actually a pretty good game. It can be difficult due to the length of some of the levels, but it never feels impossible. It actually plays a bit like one of your games, Sonic. Like Sonic, you can go pretty fast, but if you expect to just zip through a level, you'll die. You need to learn balance, when to go fast and when to be cautious. If you can do that, then you shouldn't have much trouble. If you can beat levels without using a continue, you're rewarded with lots of money. This can help you buy much needed items. And the level design is varied enough to keep your interest. Boss fights are the same way. You might want to just jump on the enemy as fast and often as possible, but again, you need to be patient, learn the pattern, and sometimes use the environment to ensure victory. It really is a solid platformer.
The Sega game isn't quite the same.
The Genesis version really is a keep at it till you don't die game. You really do need to memorize levels in order to get through them. Even then, you'll probably still die. The only exception is the shooting gallery, since that's completely random. But even still, that level makes you keep doing it until your score is high enough. It is possible to get good at this game and beat it without always dying, but is it worth it? Not really. It's just not fun to play the same poorly designed level over and over.
How is that not fun?
It doesn't feel like the movie.
The Sega game is 4 short levels that barely follows the movie. The Super Nintendo game, on the other hand, has 19 levels that fully explores every aspect of the film. It really is fun to play out things as they happen in the movie. You want to beat up Billy Zane? Go beat up Billy Zane! Sorry, Billy Zane. You don't really get that in the Sega game. Instead, you experience some of the movie. Some of the movie. And not even the most memorable parts. I mean, really? The shooting gallery? Half the game has you throwing frisbees which were used in the movie once. Once! It doesn't feel like Back to the Future. The Super Nintendo game does.
My gameplay's just better.
For being a solid platformer with varied level design and boss fights, best gameplay goes to Super Nintendo!
Both games are based on the same franchise, but one's better, and that's Super Back to the Future Part 2 for the Super Nintendo!
It has better graphics with a brighter look and more characters and levels from the movie. It has better presentation with more cutscenes that actually follow the plot of the film. It has better sound with a better theme from the movie and some pretty good originals. It also has better gameplay for being a solid platformer with varied levels and boss fights. The Sega game isn't as fun. The choice to be all minigames was interesting, but the game's too challenging and too short. Problem is, it has to be challenging because it's so short. Otherwise, you'd be done in like 20 minutes. So yeah, incredibly flawed. The Super Nintendo game does have issues too. The chibi art style might not be for everyone, and the slowdown is a real problem. But if you can get past that, you can play this game that really gives you the whole Back to the Future 2 experience. You don't really get the Back to the Future 3 experience with the Sega game, just a bundle of frustration. best Back to the Future goes to Super Nintendo.
Well, time to relax with a beer.
Boys, we've got a problem with Pastrami and the song parody.
How? He said he wouldn't do it for this episode.
Or for any in the future.
He didn't. Oh, he must have taken the DeLorean when I wasn't looking. And then he put that song in old episodes. You see, not episodes of the future, but episodes in the past.
So, you're telling me we gotta go to old Console Wars episodes to stop them?
Precisely.
You know what this means?
We gotta go back in time.
What the hell? I was gonna say that.
Sorry.
Just go. Just go. Steal my song. Really. Really.
Where are we?
Whoa. This is my old apartment. This is where it all began. Aladdin? Dude, this is the day I filmed the first episode.
There he goes.
Huh? Where'd he freaking go?
Give it up, Pastrami.
Alright. I won't write the song parody anymore. I'll just go home and eat the friggin' donuts.
That takes care of that.
Yep, and he was the last one. Ooh, let's see if he saves the future.
Okay.
Alright, dude, let's celebrate.
What, now?
Yeah, dude, there's a couple beers right here.
We gotta go back. To the future.
Dang it! I was gonna say that after we celebrated!
Sorry. Still don't think it's a good idea.
Dude, it's just 2 beers. What's the worst that can happen?
Alright, everything seems fine.
Yeah, nothing seems too weird.
Boys! Oh, what have you done?
What? We just drank a couple beers.
A couple of beers? Do you have any idea of the ramifications that out of the future?
Am I not gonna exist?
Is the world gonna end?
You didn't have any beer, so you drank liquor instead. But then you ended up getting so drunk that night, you went online and ordered this.
Back to the Future on DVD. Nice.
Not nice, don't you understand? You already owned it.
Kind of okay with it. I think we could just hang out here. I don't see why we gotta go back.
Not okay, don't you understand? That's money you could have spent on other things, like more beer, or at least the Blu-ray. No, you have to go back and fix this.
Alright. Well, I guess that
We gotta go back in time.
Dang it! I was gonna say that! Just go! Go! Forever! Stealing my line!
Thanks for checking out our latest video. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Support us on Patreon for earlier releases and bonus content like Discord, bloopers, and commentaries. Special thanks to DaGameNerd for the donation of the 2 games. And if you have a suggestion for future episodes, be sure to let us know in the comments. Also, check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for more Console Wars goodness. Later.
To the future.
That 2011 flavor. So good.